Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Industry Disruptors. Today, once again, we have Jordanne, Whiley, MBE, PhD, all the rest of it. And of course myself, Ajay, Nayyar, master of everything.
With no letters.
With no letters. Shut up! How dare you!
See map.
Oh gosh. See what I have to put up with? Oh, you shush. Anyway, thank you.
You lost your track now, what we're doing.
Thank you for joining us on Industry Disruptors. Mate, you completely fucked me up. Anyway, welcome back to another episode. Today we have our wonderful guest who is a client of both of ours, funnily enough. He does some deals with her and some deals with me, depending on who he's working with, which is interesting.
Yeah.
He is also a property sourcer. And so for those of you that don't know what sourcing is, you'll probably learn a lot about that today. Very, very good way of building up a pot to use for investments. Ashley Coalter, welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Pleased to be here.
Good to see you.
And you?
Welcome to our podcast, and thank you for saying yes. Kind of short notice. Asked you last week.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. But yeah, good work.
No,
I don't
thank you,
think
sir.
we even asked you, we just sort of told you.
Yeah, I think it was.
It was more of a, what are you doing next Friday?
Yeah. Now
So
you're
it
doing
could be
something.
available. I said, okay, well, you're coming to here. Okay, fine. Let's go.
Yeah, pretty much, basically. But yeah, thanks for coming on, mate. And look, we talked about it just before we came on, that the reason why I wanted to bring you on was because of your insight into multiple sides of the industry almost. But I guess we should always start with, who are you, what you're about, and how have you got here?
Yeah, so in short, my name's Ashley Coalter. I have multiple properties in and around the northeast, as well as I help people from, I guess as a tagline, all over the world, from investing from A to Z, basically doing 90% of the work, from A to Z, from finding to securing, to negotiating, through to the refurb, to lettings, basically. And at the same time, building my own portfolio.
How long have you been in property now?
5 years since I started. I went through Legacy originally. And full-time 3 years.
Okay.
Or so. Yeah, we've done over 100 deals now over the 3-year term. This year just massively ramped up in terms of, one, helping clients, but two, just deal flow, basically. So yeah.
So who are you? Talk to us about you and your background and where you've come from as a little wee lad
From a wee lad.
growing up.
I guess everyone has their sob story.
Yeah.
My sob story is grew up on a council estate, went from there to, my dad left me with the family when I was really young. And from there, obviously grew up with, been adopted effectively. Then from my dad, I mean, it sounds more
Extreme
than it really is, if that makes sense. It's really not that bad. And yeah, straight from school, I basically didn't know what I wanted to do. And for me, it was one of those things I thought, well, having a trade, because I was always good with my hands and I always just grafted. So went into being an electrician, fully qualified as an electrician. In the background, started my own business, my first business when I was 18, I think, something like that.
Are you still a qualified electrician?
Yes.
So you don't.
You never lose it.
But you don't have to do continuous.
So every year you need
development.
to do a certification to certify work.
Yeah.
But yeah, still an electrician.
Yeah.
And yeah, done that for a number of years, and I learned quite a lot from my first boss. He taught me what I didn't want to be like. For instance, by the time I was 60, in terms of he was still working. By the time he was 60, he had some good money, but I thought actually,
Physical manual labour.
I mean, he built a good team, but then the 2008, 2010 happened. Then his team got reduced dramatically. So that's my first sort of learnings through, because I was always inquisitive. I always ask questions, always just try and find out stuff.
I love that about you. I love the fact that you keep.
Well, that's how you
asking.
learn.
Yeah.
So And
Well, he knows that from me. I asked you about 50 questions in my first hour of meeting.
I was saying half an hour.
yeah. So, being from an electrician, I went to be an electrical engineer, different sector, less manual labour, more about brains, effectively. Then from there, went into robotic sales, because I knew through the process and the background of all of this, I had different businesses from artificial grass to a clothing brand to electrical business, all of which were really jobs.
How old are you?
29.
People say they can't do shit.
So there were more jobs than businesses. Mm-hmm. I learned very fast in terms of what not to do. JV'd with people that I shouldn't have JV'd with, but now was great realisation on that. And through one of the businesses, I basically knew I needed to pivot, meaning everything I was doing was generally very time intensive and I was replacing my time for money, which didn't really make sense. So I thought, well, if I'd not done for quite ever, which was reading, I never really read. So I typed in online, best self-help book, Rich Dad Poor Dad came up, as I think everyone's read, yeah.
Everyone's first book.
Yeah. So that was my first book into really the introduction of property, assets, liabilities, etc. And it really matched with how I thought of things, because I always think of things long term. I'll never, getting paid X, I would never pay myself the full sum. It would always be, I wouldn't pay myself anything and leave it for the longest term possible. So I got into that. Obviously their marketing is on point, because from that point, Facebook ad popped up saying I'll come to this free webinar. Went to that, got in a room surrounded by like-minded people. I guess you're going through the very juvenile stage, so there's people that love it basically. Went from that to then paying for the first course, paying for the second, being surrounded by the right room, and that's how my property investment journey really started. Got my first property investment in 2019, I think. Yeah, buy to let. And since then, till now, what made me go into sourcing, after the first deal, I didn't really have or get the service I needed, which was generally a handheld service. So I invest in the Northeast and I'm based in the Southeast, and all of my clients are from all over the world. So it's almost like I'm proof in the pudding that it's possible. And everyone's mindset's always, I say always, majority are, I need to invest close to me because I want something that I can easily get to if I have to.
What do you have to get there for?
Well, my question straight back to them is, well, what's the reason for you doing it, property investing? Is it to create cash flow, so freedom, effectively, or is it to create another job? Because obviously in reflection, if it's 2 minutes down the road, would you pay 200 quid or would you go? Answer is you would go. Yeah. So Northeast was a sector, I sort of, like I say, yields make sense, low price point to entry, so it just made sense to start with. And just grew it from there. And organically, so I don't have a website yet, don't have anything like that. I'm in the process of doing so to make it more established. And organically grown my client list, basically.
So you are basically word of mouth, 100%. That is incredible.
So there's a downside to that, though. I learned this from my dad's business and pretty much every other business, is that you can't control that. Is that you can't control the flow, effectively. So now this year, again, I've diversified in terms of where the investors are coming from, through whether it's podcast or through ad campaigns, etc. Because once you get that...
You do Facebook ads as well?
I've started to,
yeah.
In terms of generating, but I mean, there's pros and cons to everything, but at least that you can control. You spend so much, you gain so much, and follow through. Basically. And here we are.
I love it.
And now I'm a client.
I know, you're sourcing your first
You're my
deal.
client, I'm your client.
Yeah, works both ways.
Sourcing your first deal to Jordanne.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I love that. Nice little flip.
Yeah, I know.
You've been begging
I'm buzzing
for.
about it. I've been literally on every platform, and every person I talk to, I'm like, please just someone give me a flip. I don't care where it is. Just give me a flip. And no one's giving me a flip.
Ashley
Then he
did.
calls me out of nowhere, so I got a flip. I was like, yep, I'll take it. Take it.
I want it.
Yeah,
Plus, I know
absolutely.
you, right? So I was like, if I'm working with a sourcer that I don't know, then I have to do all my due diligence. And
There's so many
whereas
queries
you
around
call me,
it.
I'm like, yes, Ashley.
I think what helps with being a sourcer is if you're an investor as well, if you've got your own portfolio.
Yeah.
I think that makes a massive difference because you understand then what we're thinking.
Absolutely, and it's no different to a mortgage advisor as well. You know, if you invest as well, it makes life so much easier because you can talk the same stuff and you know what the outcome needs to be effectively.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, I mean, I hate the term sourcing. I guess because
What would you prefer to be called?
you can call me anything you
Property
like.
dealer.
That
I don't know if that sounds worse or not.
That sounds worse.
Literally.
Like a back alley going,
He's dealing, bruv.
Yeah.
one flip. Straight called me from down the alley.
Two for a fiver.
Got any buy to lets? Yeah. Got any buy to lets?
Not a dealer.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think it's because there's vast amounts of different education out there, and I guess sourcing itself, once you pay the certain fees to get certified effectively, there's not really many hoops to jump through. Whereas a mortgage advisor, there's a few more hoops to jump through, so not everyone can be one of them.
Yeah.
And I think that's the issue, is it's too accessible. I know there's some more things coming into play to make it more...
The barrier to entry harder.
Yeah.
So then what do we call you?
Property broker? I don't know.
This guy. You can't say...
You can't say I don't like sourcing
and then not know what you want to be called. It's like I hate the word mortgage broker.
I use that word.
Yeah, I don't like broker at all. And the reason... Yeah, but the reason you use
You just
it...
like boss man.
Yeah. The reason you use broker is because 90% of the population
Say
think broker.
Yeah, they're
right?
like, you're a broker.
However, I'm an advisor because I advise, right? Brokering would be, right, here's your deal, here's a bank, here's a property investor, done. That's my I brokered the deal.
Okay. Let's label it as portfolio builder.
I'm down with that.
Easy.
Yeah.
Done.
All right. Portfolio builder.
Look at that.
All right. New word for a sourcer. That's like Ashley. All right. That's the caveat. Portfolio builder.
PB.
PB. ACPB. How's that? No?
Too far.
Glorious, mate. Lovely.
I'm not cool enough for that. Oh well. Okay, portfolio building. So you obviously bought property first and then decided to move into portfolio building for others. What was it that made you think, do you know what? Okay, no, you mentioned, you didn't get the service that you wanted. So for you, it was a case of, I want to provide that service to others that I didn't get. It's kind of like me. It's kind of like every business I start is because I had a shit experience and I want to then start that business. Absolutely. Yeah. Or I'm continuously battling with someone where they're not doing things the way that needs to be done for what we're trying to achieve. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just start my own business, like with the accountancy firm, because I'm fighting with accountants continuously and telling them that how can you not understand what lenders need for accounts for someone who's self-employed? How can you not get it? You're an accountant. Yep. It's your job to know that. If your accountant only does property and nothing else, you need to know what they need.
You'd hope so.
But they don't.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, yeah, we're experts in property. I was like, why haven't you done this?
It's because they don't invest themselves.
So it's just like, yeah, so that's why I started Hearthstone Accountants and did that. And it's the same with the wills. We started doing wills because...
No one's got a will.
No one's got a will. And
Have you got a will?
Not yet. I will soon though, won't I? I'm just going to get hashtag dealer next to my name on your phone now.
Ashley Coalter, dealer.
Yeah, so dodgy.
Might actually do that.
So you started portfolio building for others, but I'm assuming you didn't think it would take off the way it's taken off for you.
What, from the sourcing sector?
Yeah.
I think
because I feel like your business has grown dramatically in comparison to what maybe you thought it might have done.
I'm a very optimistic and ambitious person anyway, so it's something I think a lot of entrepreneurs go through where...
No, but you thought international day one?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm down with you. I like you.
Yeah, because I mean this in the best respect of all British people. We know what's best.
Yeah.
That's almost a given fact. Every client, most clients that are from the UK, they think they know best. For instance, when it comes to fees that they haven't paid before, etc., they don't see the value, all that sort of jazz. Someone outside of the UK, they rely on someone to help them. And the thing with that is that there's a vulnerability there. And for me, anyone that takes the piss out of someone unnecessarily or just for any reason, it's wrong. Like, just be honest, open integrity, etc. Just be straight. There's no need to earn fees from this and this and not tell anyone. Just be straight. Your service, deliver this. Keep continuously delivering, because the process is I want them to come back. Go back to the portfolio builder side. I want to help people build their portfolio, because you're almost creating a lifestyle that they didn't have, but now they do, and I've made that possible. So from a selfish perspective, I guess that's in a satisfaction of myself, really. But
right. So for the benefit of our listeners and watchers, talk us through point 1 to point end of your portfolio building. So if a client comes to you and they say that they want to start building a portfolio, what do you do? How do you go about it? Obviously, it takes a long time. We don't have that much time, so keep it succinct.
Bullet points.
Bullet points, yeah. So
Points.
Take us through your process of what you do and then how you get to completion.
Okay, so qualifying stages, someone will reach out to me and say, they're looking for X, Y, Z. My then job from there is to understand, okay, what is the main driver? Is it cash flow? Is it capital appreciation? Because, for instance, a 2-bed terrace, you can get quite high cash flow. Capital appreciation on the terrace isn't as high as semi-detached. Most of my portfolio is semi-detached because it reflects back on home buyers. If home buyers are emotional buyers, so it's more likely in any downturn, you're likely to get the highest price basically achieved. So that's my approach, but other people just want cash flow. So that's a key question from the start. Once I know that, then the next question is, okay,
what if they want both?
Then it's diversity.
Yeah,
It's
one of each kind of.
One of each. You can achieve both, but then it comes down to price in terms of how much liquid they have. For instance, if they come back saying, there's so many variables, but let's say if they're able to inject 100, 200,000 pound into this business, which is the property investing business, every year, then you can get a plan together. My whole process is to actually create a plan for them. So to say, this is what's possible from my knowledge to what we've done before. So this is your roadmap effectively of what we need to do to get there. So they understand what to expect. Because the thing is everyone has different expectations, but to manage theirs and mine, to make sure, okay, you're willing to move forward on it. This is what we're going to do. This is the process. If I present something, this is the process to get through that. So we cover all that first. Once we understand that, build out a roadmap, I then get to work. In terms of the average time in finding a deal, it varies. It could be tomorrow. On average, I'll probably say between 2 and 6 weeks, depending on what they're after.
And how do you go about finding the deal?
I love this question. Every avenue possible, whatever it takes. I've got guys in the ground up there, project managers, etc., that do all my viewings for me. Every property that's purchased, we will at least make sure there's photos, but 90% of the time we'll get a video round, like walk round, and the person doing the video will be a project manager.
So they'll cost it up straight away if there's a refurb needed.
Yeah.
I got a video.
Did you?
I did. I enjoyed it.
It's lovely
Was
commentary.
it that kind of video?
No, it was
Dealer. It's dealer, okay? Nothing else in the title.
I could see all of the house, and I could see exactly what needed to be done. Because with a picture, when it's still, it's like, I can't see round there, or what is that? Whereas with the video, and he's commentating.
Okay, fine.
So he can say the windows looks pretty good, but I can just do whatever.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it's that's really good.
Yeah, it was very helpful.
Because photos can hide so much, you might as well just go to auction and hope for the best, hopefully. That's what we're trying to avoid, basically.
Yeah.
So we go to find a property. Once we find the property, we'll present all the information necessary. Now, did you get... I sent you the deal analysis sheet on the property, didn't I? Yeah. Of which I try and give every possible outcome and just the facts across board. And obviously there's 2 reports on there. You get to see everything that's listed. So therefore you can see where I've got my numbers from, and it's not just a, done up value of this. Okay, where's the evidence, So once that's presented, before dealing with all of that though, when it comes to the actual deal, I'll go for a dummy deal first. So I can already know the expectation of most of my clients before we actually get there, so that if we need to act fast, we can, because I already know what they need to see or what they want, basically.
Yeah.
Then from that process, we get it quoted. We go through to completion. Ideally, the team go within 48 hours to collect the keys. Keys get cut, etc. Key box on the wall. Then from there, we get the project managers to establish the contractors to go in within the week, whenever completion is. Upon that point, I then assign everything to them, because they're separate to me, but we work as a collaboration effectively, and create a WhatsApp group, keep them updated throughout the process, videos, weekly
That's
updates.
a WhatsApp group with you, the client, and the PM.
Correct. Yep. So I then oversee everything, because my job, I'm acting for the client. My job is to push it through as quick as possible. So if something's not done, it's then my job to say, why isn't it done? And I'm very much a believer of, like, we need to be communicating before, for instance, Jordanne in this example, before she even thinks of us. Like, I want them to say, right, we're going in there on Thursday or Friday to do an update. This week we're expecting this, this and this. Jordanne then can feel like, okay, I'm at ease for this week. This is what I expect. If it does or doesn't happen, in the best way, I don't care, as long as it's communicated to Jordanne to say, this is the reason why.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with no communication, everyone's minds always goes to the most negative part, and you'll always think, oh, they're not on site, nothing's getting done, etc. Whereas really, might not be the case.
Yeah. Well, we get that in our line of work, don't we? Sometimes there's no update to give, but people want updates, and they panic that they haven't got an update on nothing to give, so then we can't talk to them, and it gets a bit awkward.
I think it's a case of the time it takes lenders to respond in certain circumstances just leaves us in that kind of limbo
Well,
place.
sometimes we're going back and forth over a period of like a week, but there's nothing to report until I have something solid.
Yeah.
So then they come back and they're like, have you got anything to report? And I'm just like, no.
I've been going back and
Well,
forth.
I'm a culprit for it. I've called you guys before, saying, oh, is there any update? Because on my end, I've got to chase because I need to find out what's what, and you guys are like, we chase every day.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, but
Yeah, because every case gets chased every day if it's out of our hands. If it's in our hands, it's a case of then we come to you and say, right, we need this. And if there's nothing that we don't need, if there's nothing that we need, it's a back and forth with the lender until we get to them being happy. I can do a back and forth with the lender for 3 weeks, 4 weeks continuously, and there'd be no progress on a case. Yeah. It's literally, that is the progress. The fact that we've just gone back and forth, 17, 18 times over 12 days or something, 17 days, 18 days, whatever it is. But we're no closer to anything until they've decided that they're happy with the case and they're happy to offer it. But so I like this. Mate, I might use you as well, you know that.
Or let me complete on the deal first, and then I'll let you know. I'll give you a feedback.
yeah, let Jordanne be the live feedback.
No pressure or anything.
Yeah, don't worry. I've already said to the guys, don't fuck up.
Yeah, fuck yeah. No, it's been good so far. I liked the video, so I could see the house, and they've been quite thorough with the schedule of work so far. So I know what to expect. I know what's going to happen.
Good.
I'll let you know.
Wonderful. So I'm assuming that. So when was it that you then went international, where you started working with clients abroad?
So my very first client was in the UK. I think it must have been my second client onwards was from Netherlands, then Sweden. How they came about?
It was just random.
I think it was through because I presented on a few like Netherlands like Zoom calls, for instance, just showing them exactly what I'm doing,
that's what we were
etc.
saying. We should collaborate and go out there.
Yeah,
It's something I want to do, or I'm going to do with my business partner Alex, the solicitor, to go out there just because to have him aside as well, usually for a lot of people, that's actually the breaking point. It's a solicitor. And for a lot of solicitors, they're not interested in
business.
Actually, yeah, any type of entrepreneurship or business.
No.
I mean, even Alex, I said to him, I was going on this today, and he said, no chance. And I said, honestly, if you had the mindset of going on there, I said you'd blitz it.
On the podcast? Yeah, I had a solicitor on here.
Did you?
I didn't call Alex because I knew Alex wouldn't do it. But I called someone else, and yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the amount of knowledge and just, obviously, so many transactions.
Why does he not want to do it, though?
Just not his personality at this
Just not
point.
him.
He will do it. He will do it.
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure.
He will do it.
Call him out, Alex.
How did you go about getting that team together up in the Northeast to work with you? Because I'm assuming that because they're independent, they've got their own deals that they're working on or their own jobs that they're working on. How did you kind of forge that collaboration to...
Yeah, I did think that because
it's quite impressive. I'm not going to
Yeah.
lie. I've been in this game a long time and very, very rarely do I see someone who has that sort of collaboration thing going on very, very quickly. I mean, I was very blessed and lucky where I met Shane in Barnsley. And I met him on my third trip to Barnsley, and that was it. He was mine for life, and he still is till today.
Yeah.
You know, and we're talking over 10 years later. And I still work with the same guy, and he's brilliant, and I love him to bits. But so how did you go about that, picking up that partnership kind of?
I'm very fortunate, very lucky that the people I work with quite quick enough. So most of my business is on the phone, so I have to try and understand someone's personality, etc., just through the phone. And so my first project manager, he actually done my first project as a project manager, and that's how it first initially started. And I said, okay, well, obviously I'm not traveling up and down. I did it at the very start, as you do, because you need to, etc. But then I realised it was just not effective in any way. So I said to him, look, if I assided a percentage of the fee, for instance, to basically say, look, for a thank you, anything that win that we basically get accepted, I'll aside for you. And that way then it benefits him and it's not a waste of his time. Plus then he gets a project management side. I'm very... there's always a driver for money, but the money itself isn't the goal.
So you apportion part of your fee to them. That's good.
Because I want to do volume. I just want to help more people. In order to help more people, you just need to collaborate more, in short. And
Absolutely.
like any business, it's a people game. Every industry's, if you can work with the right people, everything else just follows suit, basically. And from that, we've been able to, I've worked with multiple people actually, just in and out the areas, just sometimes by fluke, just by talking to people, obviously understand what they do, etc. And just, I'm always an open-minded thinker. So if they say something and I think, okay, well, I could possibly use you for that. Like, that'd be great to trial something out first. If it works, great. And the same again, just managing that expectation to people to say, look, I'm not going to promise I can, buy every single deal from you, but I'll promise you as soon as something does sell, etc., and everything works out what it should do, this is what I expect, we'll continue working with each other. That's what I want to do. It's business.
And so do you find the deals from down here and send them, or do they also find the deals? And
Mix. Total mix. Because they're on the ground, direct to vendor is a lot easier from their perspective. Hopefully next year I could take on a sales guy in the north that could basically just cover up, which would be good. But in the meantime, they tell everyone what they need to do, etc. I mean, most of the time, don't say this to all of them, but I sort of silently coach them in some respect. So they might be limited on experience and the amount of transactions, etc. But because I do everything via phone, I build my relationships that way with agents and everything else. So whenever I say to them, for instance, if you're going to the vendor, ask them this, this, and this.
Yeah.
See if we can uncover a bit of a better story, because I know the outcome, like you guys on the mortgage side. Ask them these questions because there's a possibility we'll be able to work something out other than just a straight sale. So yeah.
So where's your focus right now? Is it more on the sourcing side, or is it building your own portfolio, or both?
I feel greedy saying both, really, but it will always be, I mean this in the best way as well. Property's very boring, and property's is what it says on the tin, basically, and that's why I love it. Before, I was very driven by the excitement of something new, and that's what was going, not wrong, but that's what I learnt very quickly. So, for me, the main focus is always to build my own portfolio, but obviously raising funds through, SaaS pensions or through other people, etc., through mine and Alex's business, that limits us to a certain extent. Because if I said this to Alex, I think if I had 1 to 3 million that I could borrow at any one time, I'm quite comfortable that I could probably 50% like increase on profits over the year, just because the amount of deals that come through that I know I could do something with. And then that's plus the sourcing as well from helping other clients, because everyone has their own needs and wants. So
I like the fact that you have that collaboration with others. I like to call them strategic partnerships. I think one of the
doesn't sound so friendly though.
Strategic partnership.
That's almost like I'm friends with you for a reason.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
What the fuck shit up, man. Fine. Collaboration.
I like things fluffy.
Right. Because obviously you were working with Jordanne for about 1.5 years or so, and then obviously I started working with Alex. We're doing some deals and we're going through everything, and then I've set him up on the portal. He's ready to go. I've got his fact find done. I've got his documents in. I'm ready to put an application in. He goes, "Oh, I should have mentioned I've got a business partner." And I was just like, "Mate, I'm literally about to put your application in, and you're telling me now that there's a business partner?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah. Yeah, this is in a limited company." And the whole time I'm thinking this in his personal name, because he's not mentioned anything about the company or the business partner. And I was like, right, okay, fine. What's the limited company name? Gives me a limited company name. I'll go online and look. I was just like, "Who's your business partner?" He's like, "Oh, it's a guy called, no, he's a chap called Ashley Coalter." And I was just like, "I know Ashley. He's a client of ours." He's like, "Oh, that's good." And I was like, how random could this happen? It's like, Ashley's already working with the firm, because obviously with different business partners, you do mortgages with Jordanne. And here was me doing a mortgage for Alex, and then all of a sudden, you cropped up out of nowhere in that situation.
But that's like when you kind of just cropped up on mine as well, because I wasn't initially working with you. I was working with your business partner, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, there's a third person in the business," and I was like, "Who's that?" And it's like Ashley. So I was like, "This guy."
Yeah, he just crops
Pop
up
out of nowhere.
Pops up.
Yeah, he literally just crop up everywhere. It's brilliant, and it's good. But it's good to have that, like where you're not kind of restricted to one sort of thing. There are multiple facets to what you do. Of course, for us, there are multiple facets. Well, I mean, with me, there's shitloads of facets to what I do. So mortgage advice, accountancy, and this business, and film, and acting, producing, and fucking property investment, and whatever. Podcasts, chatting.
What do you enjoy the most?
Acting. Oh, number one in
So
life.
is Jordanne taking over the business soon?
Don't give him ideas.
Jordanne's already the COO.
I already run the business.
More letters. You know.
Yay, more letters.
No, acting for me. I mean, there's just something about that red light that pops up on the camera that takes me into a whole different world. Doing this is fun. It's kind of like a secondary acting thing, but it's not really, because I'm just being me.
Yeah, of course.
Whereas I'm not creating a character as someone else. So creating those characters for me, I just absolutely love. I can't get enough of it. Dark characters I like a lot, because it's so far away from me, and the depth to which I have to go in order to create that character. I do a lot of research and reading and stuff like that to try and really delve into a really kind of gritty character. It's great. And obviously when I watch stuff on TV or movies or whatever, I'm always studying actors and seeing what they're doing, and I can almost see their thought process and what they've done to make that choice they've just made, with a certain a moment that they take before they deliver a line, or a beat that they take, things like that. Like I just love it. I love that. But yeah, going back to you, of course, it's having those multiple facets that I think does you a lot of justice with what you're trying to achieve. And it gives me a lot of confidence, which is why I send you a lot of clients. I think I mentioned any new client or any client that is looking for someone to help them grow, I send them to you, because I'm just like, there's very few people that I trust.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time with a good and bad thing. From a commercial perspective, it's terrible from my end, because I spend a lot of time with people educating them. And from my perspective, I've spent over 100 grand literally just on coaching, education, etc. And to give that away for free, that's what, in my nature, I just want to make sure someone doesn't lose money on something for the obvious reason. And things, you probably get this as well, where not that you know best, but you've seen this happen before, so you try and guide someone, and obviously it's up to them. You take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. Similar sort of thing. And I love that process of helping someone not know nothing, but know the basics, to then first, second, third project. They're then talking my lingo on the third and fourth project, and it's like, great, we're in sync.
I literally got a text from someone this morning, and they said, Ajay, I was just in a meeting, and your episode on title splits made me look like an absolute boss in my meeting.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, because he'd watched it.
Because he'd watched the episode and he'd learned so much about it.
Amazing.
He started talking about it in his meeting, and everyone was just blown away by his knowledge on title splits. And he was just like, I can't thank you enough. So at least some positive is coming out of these podcasts where people can actually learn something.
That was a good episode, though.
It's about, take away your inhibitions, take away your red misted blindedness of this industry, and just learn something, and maybe you can achieve it yourself. And I think a lot of people just don't get it. People are like, oh, you're just a money hungry, blah, blah, blah. And I always want to say, if I gave you 200 grand tomorrow to build a portfolio, would you do it? I say, you're only allowed to have £200,000 if you build a portfolio. Would you do it? Fuck yes, they 100%. Would. Of course they would. So the people who are, screaming and shouting, you're disgusting and you're blood-sucking and you're blah, 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 and all this bullshit, it's because they can't do it themselves, or they think they can't do it themselves. What they don't realise that actually they can do it themselves. They just don't know how. And maybe if they listened, they would learn.
Well, it's the sooner they realise that, the sooner they can then actually be open to people wanting to help, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, from a sourcing perspective, for you guys, what's the, not red flags, but what's the things that makes you most cautious? Like, you probably paid a sourcer for the very first time.
Yeah.
At that point, what did that feel like? What could have been done that would have given you more confidence?
As soon as someone asked for my passport, I'm out.
Yeah.
Honestly.
At what point did they ask for the passport?
Straight away.
They're like, give me a passport. I'm like, no.
Yeah. You start behaving like an estate agent and you're done. That's it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, I need your proof of funds.
No, you
Fuck off,
don't.
mate. You don't need anything.
That's brilliant.
You do not need anything.
So that's really interesting.
Is that what you were going to do when you get home after my passport?
I've already done that. You just haven't seen it.
I did a deal, not last year, the year before. No. When was it?
Yeah.
Fucking how many years ago was this? 22? Was it 2022?
2022.
2022, right. November 2022 is when I completed finally. The deal came to me in July. Started the process. He was just like, yeah, I need your proof of funds. I was like, no, you don't. He's like, yeah, I do. I was like, you can fuck off. You're not having it. He was
brilliant.
like, well, I need it. I was like, listen, you don't need anything, mate. You can bugger off. At that point, I had, I want to say, like 18 deals and legals. And I was like, my proof of funds, mate, is my 18 deals and legals. Fuck off. Don't ask me again. Right? Just leave me the fuck alone. And he didn't know how to respond, because he's just like, everyone just gives it. It's like, listen, you do not need my proof of funds. You do not need my ID. You do not need anything, right? You leave me alone. You need something, you ask my solicitor. What's my solicitor going to tell you? Fuck off, right? If the solicitor's going to tell you to fuck off, why am I going to do it for you? No, because I listen to my solicitor. And it's across the board. Now, it's different for internationals. you have to do AML checks and all the rest of it. It's very, very important because you're in that process. It's a little bit different for you. But where you're dealing with me or her or someone else that I've sent to you, for example, they're legitimately here and they're already proofed by kind of the circle that we're in.
So it's interesting because when it's a referral, it's almost pre-qualified. Let's call it a warm lead, for instance. Then that's different.
Where it's Joe Blogs off the street.
When it's Joe Blogs off the street, because it is a total 20% chance if they're actually going to buy. Yeah, they just want to fish the deal. Is it?
Wouldn't you just ask for a down payment then in that instance?
So with going back to obviously my lead generation, if you like, through organic and through paid, anything that's paid, yes. Because, like I say, I could be wasting my time effectively.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's all within the contract. So it's down to people if they have the time or even want to sign a contract first, then pay the fee. It's a bit of process. So you have to give 90% of the information away effectively. And it is.
I think I still owe you a fee.
Yeah, you do.
I just remembered. Still owe him some money.
Yeah, but we've been away for about a week and a half, haven't we? So.
That's fine. We can all make excuses.
You know
it's
where
fine.
I am.
I think it's one of those situations where, for instance, if they're a cold lead, come through a lead being a buyer effectively.
What the fuck are you doing, mate?
Footsie's under the table.
Sorry.
Mate, she booted me in the shin.
Sorry. I had one of those, when your leg just goes like that.
No, I don't.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Proceed.
Mate,
Sorry.
anyway.
So for you guys, obviously a red flag is when someone asks for an ID check or proof of funds, etc. Now, if that's a sourcer that doesn't know you and they ask for that, is that still that same mindset of that's an issue?
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's great. I suppose for you guys, you would only want to use someone that's been referred then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I mean,
I saw what you went through in 22. That was
that one deal. What I went through in that.
Was that
deal,
the Liverpool one?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What
all
I went
the
through.
figures were wrong.
All the figures were wrong. They bullshitted me. They fucking hid shit. I ended up spending 45 grand on a £5,000 refurb.
Nice.
I mean, now it's a lovely little one.
Oh, it's stunning. And it's a very nice earner.
Yeah.
But only because of what I've done to it. If I did what they said, it wouldn't be earning me anything.
Yeah.
But also, it's perfect. It's perfect use for what it is. And it's a nice little holiday let just by a football ground where people are going to games and they want to stay somewhere close to the ground. And it just works for them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And on that note.
On that note, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So going back to, from a sourcing perspective then from your guys' side, basically pre-qualified or pre-referred, etc., that's usually your preference. So that's why, hence I guess with my business and your referral, it's easier done. Now when you first started, I suppose because you're in property and it's sort of been educated, you already pre-knew. There's some things that people always come up against is, well, why would I pay you a fee? What am I getting for that? And because they can go to an estate agent and they see everything on basically, or I don't know what you'd call it, but like a shop front.
I can say out loud now, proudly, an estate agent could not do what you do.
No, absolutely not.
I've worked with 2 estate agents and I've worked with hundreds so far probably, that are actually proactive. I find not all, but quite a few are very reactive, where they may basically wait for the work to come in. Once it comes in, someone calls them to view the deal or to view the property.
No, but I'm talking about knowledge-wise, Ashley. They do not. I've never come across someone that has the knowledge. I just haven't. But from the questions that they ask, the demands that they make, I'm just saying, you don't get it, do you? You just don't get this industry. But yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But I think we're out of time now.
Yeah.
Could have gone for ages.
Sorry, guys.
But yeah, Ashley, we really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Sharing your knowledge. And for all those out there who are interested in property building.
PBs.
Portfolio building. Ashley is your man, 100%. Happy to put your details in
Yeah, appreciate that.
and the blurb and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming on, and thank you for everyone for joining in and watching us on Industry Disruptors. We are here for you, ultimately, helping you kind of understand more about what it is that we do and why we do it, and what we're about and what we're trying to achieve with putting this podcast out there. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If there's anything that you want to us to discuss, or if there's something that you think that you want to learn more of, please do comment. Please do give us a like, and that helps us reach more people as well. For those of you that don't understand, these social media algorithm thingies are very bizarre, and the more interaction we have, the more people are able to see it, and I'm sure this will be valuable for a lot of people out there. So thanks again for joining in, and we'll see you again soon on Industry Disruptors.